This is a short video designed to introduce you to Jeffrey Minch, the author of a short story, Horses for Courses, that I've added into the course. Here's a picture of Jeff over here on the left-hand side of the screen. As you can see, we're the same age, and we are in fact college classmates. We both attended the Virginia Military Institute. Here's a picture of Jeff when he was in the Army as a second lieutenant. His father was a sergeant major. Both of us went to VMI on Army ROTC scholarships. Both of us graduated in 1973. He graduated with distinction. I graduated with honors in English. Jeff was an engineer officer in Korea. He also served in Fort Dix and at Fort Belvoir, Virginia for a while. During his last couple of years in the Army, he went to the Wharton School at night, same place that Donald Trump went to, and completed an MBA program. And he used that in part to create a very successful career as a commercial property developer, a philanthropist, and business consultant, and what he calls CEO coach. And most of his work is in Austin, Texas. He is a short story writer as well as all the other kinds of things he's done. He has a blog that you might find interesting at Musing of the Big Red Car, and I've provided a link for that in our Blackboard site. Most of his stories that he's published are published online. You can Google him, Jeff Minch Fiction, and you can come up with some stories. He takes his work very seriously, even though this is something that is not his primary focus. All of the other writers that we're dealing with this semester are authors by profession, but Jeff has had a wide variety of professions in his life and has been extraordinarily successful and very generous with the wealth that he's accumulated as a result of that. He's been particularly generous to the Virginia Military Institute and has been a major benefactor of the institution for quite some time. Horses for Courses is set during World War II in North Africa. It begins in Kasserine Pass in Tunisia, which isn't that far away, although it's in the same part of the world as our other story in this section, The Guest, which is set in Algeria. The story takes place as well during the Italian campaign in World War II. The actions that you see in here, the battles, those are real. Kasserine Pass was a sort of a defeat, early defeat for the Americans during World War II. And then we fought our way through Sicily, through Salerno, which is the invasion of Italy, and then up the Italian boot during 1943 and 1944. Very long, tough, difficult campaign. The action of the story is set in all those places, and you can watch the protagonist grow as both a person and as a combat leader in that period of time. The story has two different strands to it. One is it begins with a section about horse racing and how the Irish are fascinated with it, and how the Irish look at particular horses for particular kinds of racetracks. Some are good on dry tracks, some are good on wet tracks. The story refers to mudders, that is, people who are like horses who can do well on very difficult courses. At the end of the story, there's a footnote that kind of prints these two strands together that brings the horse racing strand, which is where the story begins, and the combat scenes together. And it connects these two in a really interesting kind of way. At the end, the footnote suggests that the main character is in fact a graduate of the Virginia Military Institute, a real one. I spent some time today in my Register of Former Cadets, and there's Noah O'Shea is listed as a VMI graduate. So the point of the story is similar to the other two stories that we have in this section. You have a male who is in an all-male environment doing some very male kinds of things and achieving a certain kind of success as a result of that. You'll see a little bit of that in The Secret Sharer as well if you haven't already read that. This story was written literally a month or so before we started this course. I asked Jeff for one of his stories to include. This is the one that he sent, and I'll be very interested to see what your responses are as we go through. Thank you.